So if you paid attention to this latest episode of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, you'll notice there was a lot of little things that happened at different points in the episode that kind of come together into a bigger whole, which we'll kind of address a little bit more in the future. But while we're here, make sure you guys like the video, make sure you guys are subscribed, and make sure you have that bell notification on for more information and when you know our next episode and review will be up on YouTube. In the meantime, so Rimuru is here and he's trying to get everything together. He's trying to get his labyrinth together. And of course, where last episode left off after if you didn't realize, there was a week hiatus. So it's been 2 weeks since we've had an episode, but with this one, actually, it was pretty good. I liked how all the different aspects of Rimuru and his ruling as he meets with different people. So then that way, overall, we can kind of get an idea of what's to come or what's going to happen as the festival begins. So first things first, we have Milium onto the scene, and of course they're asking her to get some dragons for the dungeon, which was what they talked about previously. Now, I will have to say the beginning of this episode I thought was really funny. It really reminded me of Konosuba and their antics that may happen here. But the whole battle, quote unquote, between Milium and Rimuru, it reminded me of like, there's like some sort of harem going on. Rimuru is all over here flaunting the fact that she now lives in the kingdom. So of course, if she's living in the kingdom, she's taunting to Milium like, oh, I'm not visiting anymore. I actually live here and I'm working, to make Milium jealous. So it was to me as if, you know, guy has his side chick or something like that. Like, oh yeah, you know, this is my main harem girl. She's living with me. And then it's like, oh, well, oh, you're not living with me. And then of course, making Milium jealous. It's as if Rimuru is having a harem here. And then some girls are more favorite than the others. And then of course, those girls are clashing together, which is just kind of just hilarious overall, especially as Rimuru is one to rub her nose into others when she gets the chance to. So I thought the beginning of the episode was actually pretty funny to start things off with. Now, it's one thing that this show will do a lot of is kind of introduce characters out of nowhere. And yes, supposedly they're supposed to be characters that are kind of long into the show and it's just like, oh, we just now stumble upon them. I mean, I pretty much would know and remember a character like this, a Gabumon, who looks like a Pokemon and or Digimon with the way he's dressing. It's like, okay, that's different. I definitely will remember you if you had come by at some point in the past. But I asked this to my manga readers, this segment that they talked about where he actually was saving the merchant as like his bodyguard or whatnot, it seemed to me that this was very quickly skimmed over and very quickly addressed in this episode. It's like, oh yeah, this happened, but you know, we're safe and sound now. It doesn't really matter. It felt like to me like, huh, I'm pretty sure the manga probably talked in more detail about that. It probably showcased or showed the actual battle and then him coming to save them and then maybe their trek back. They just kind of just like went through that very quickly. So I asked you guys, am I right? Was there more to it or was it just as quickly skimmed over in the manga as it was here in this episode? You know, I don't mind them keep introducing all these characters because you got to remember, way back in season 1, Rimuru's over here naming all the goblins. So I'm sure there's a lot of characters and a lot of people he named that is just gonna, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, this guy, oh yeah, he's been here since forever and he's really valuable to the team. And of course, it's like the first time they've introduced us to them ever. So, but of course the manga, the way the manga works is kind of different. So stuff that's introduced to us now in this season probably came up earlier in the manga and then, you know, vice versa. Now, granted, they did use this point to name drop the Viscount again, Viscount Kazakh. So then that way they can talk about him more in the future of this episode. But I thought this was very interesting how this part of the episode just, it didn't take long and then it just moved on. So let me know what you guys think about it. So one of the main things I want to talk about here is Shion and her battle with these three guys. That's actually one of the other Demon Lord's sons. How it was a chain reaction and actually helped Rimuru even more so than he thought originally. So first things first, of course, we still get the trope of how Rimuru has no clue how powerful his subordinates are, and it surprises him constantly, which is always funny to see, because you think Rimuru's like, all right, you know what, here's a battle, I'm gonna take care of myself, and then his subordinate's like, we got this, boss, don't worry about it. But everyone else keeps fearing Rimuru's people, except Rimuru, and he's like, oh wow, I didn't realize they were that strong. Oh, surprising to me. So Shion makes short work of these three guys, and it wasn't even close. Through this battle, she actually kills several birds with one stone. So of course, the Minotaurs and the horse people come up to Rimuru, and even though they're supposed to be acknowledging him as the Demon Lord, they're so hell-bent on fighting each other, they literally ignore him to a point. So even when he's doing his Demon Lord presence to show off like how powerful he is, everyone else was afraid, but the main two leaders, I would say, were ignoring him. And he's like, how are they ignoring me? I mean, they're just so hell-bent on fighting each other, they're ignoring my presence? But yet, when someone comes to attack them, they're like, oh snap, oh, what's going on here? And through this battle that they apparently saw, then they bend the knee and they're like, oh, if she's so powerful, then he's got to be more powerful. So through this fight of Shion's, they bend the knee and they stop fighting each other, which was apparently a war that had been going on for a long time, which then brings us to these elves that were in the forest that apparently kept getting displaced because of the Minotaur and horse people's battle. Now that's resolved. Even before they can ask Rimuru for a resolution, it's resolved. And so they're like, hey, thank you. We will definitely bend the knee to you now because you took care of something we were going to ask you, but didn't have the chance to. So, and then Rimuru, of course, knows where they're going to live. He's like, hey, I got a spot for you. No worries, no problem. I got you. And then it chain reacts in the fact that, ooh, Viscount Kazakh comes back up again. Let's look into him because he might have been doing some stuff with these elves. Let's make sure we watch him. So one little thing where Shion takes on this fight cascades to all these good things that actually come about and help not only Rimuru, but actually the nation of Tempest. So I just love these moments when we get to see a really good, might be quick, but fight scene here where Shion just mops the floor with them. It's not even close. And even though they did comment that they were more powerful than Shion, she just made short work of them. It seemed to me like they didn't even know how to fight. Like they had some basics of how to fight, but they didn't really know like a structured way of fighting. And Shion just overwhelms them. It's not even close. And so of course now she has them under her tutelage, and of course allows Rimuru to call in a favor of their father, the other Demon Lord, Daggerless. Now the final thing that was happening here, which I thought was pretty interesting, we're going to go into the Tengu clan, which I assume is what next week's episode is going to get into more so. Now, if you remember, Rimuru and his party in one of the meetings at the beginning of the season, they talked about the clans that were in a different part close by to them, which I believe included Tengu clan. But the way that, if you notice, Benimaru was walking in front of them as if he's about to introduce them to Rimuru. In the beginning of the season, Rimuru told, hey, Benimaru, go and explore this area, go and take care of it. We'll, so then that way, we can know more about these people. But then it didn't really show Benimaru leave. At some point in the season, Benimaru apparently met up with them and talked with them. So I'm assuming next week is going to kind of go into that story and into that detail, almost like a backstory, if you will, like, hey, while some things were happening this season, I broke away and visited the people you asked me to visit, and this is what happened. So I'm actually surprised that it kind of accelerated, if I want to say, like it did stuff off screen, but then I am assuming next week it's going to explain it on screen. Now, you know, I don't want to say spoilers because, I mean, I guess it kind of is. We've seen this girl on the main theme song and how she's been on the main theme song even since the beginning of the season. And then now she's just now introduced, and it looks like she's all over Benimaru. So it makes me feel like if she hasn't already, she probably likes Benimaru for some reason. Maybe he saved them, I am assuming. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this is done. Like I said, I think it's something he's done off screen, and then it will explain it in next week's episode. But I was expecting at some point this season to have an episode of him going over there, but they skipped over it. Now, granted, in the manga, they probably didn't. And, you know, you guys know what happens to this point. But as a only anime watcher and haven't read the manga, I'm just like, okay, that's an interesting perspective that they are doing it in. But I am awaiting how it turns out. But the festival is starting soon, so I'm actually looking forward to the festival starting because due to the main theme song, it looks like the battles that's going to be in the arena look like they're going to be pretty good. So I'm assuming that we're going to have some pretty good fight scenes. I'm also assuming Hinata coming in and all these others are going to be coming. That might not necessarily bring strife, but it might be an interesting moment as well. So I'm waiting for the festival to actually start, which seems like it's about to be soon. And once it starts, what trouble or what's going to be coming about, because it, like I said, looks like it's going to be probably more fight scenes and more things happening. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But overall, I think it was a good episode. And like I said, small things here and there through this whole episode that led to a bigger story. And yes, I am skipping over some aspects that happened that were, you know, little small things that we'll see if they actually contribute to something in the future. But tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. But make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more, because we'll definitely be discussing more anime here on this channel. Make sure you guys tune in here so then that way you guys can hear some good analysis on good things and these awesome, great anime that's happening right now. You guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.